Hello, and welcome to ET Deep Dive, a podcast where we give you, ET's best deep dives on audio. This episode is based on Lijee Philip's story on India's booming, flourishing, and yet fragmented locker economy. A business shaped by rising household wealth, a deep cultural attachment to physical assets, technological change, chronic locker shortages, and the rise of an entirely new breed of private vault operators. It's Sunday, the 7th of June. I'm Anirban Chowdhury. This is the Morning Brief. For generations, the ritual barely changed. A family arrives at a bank carrying jewelry in cases or cloth pouches. Registers are dusted, signatures examined. A bank official escorts them into a heavily secured vault area lined with steel lockers. Behind those doors, wedding jewelry, inherited gold, property papers, wills, family heirlooms, the MVPs of household wealth. The bank locker was never just storage, it was trust locked away. Now, that trust is facing scrutiny. Complaints involving missing valuables, alleged fraud, disputed access records, and inheritance-related delays are unsettling customers across India. Social media and consumer forums have amplified fears about locker safety. Yet, demand remains stronger than ever. That paradox sits at the heart of India's evolving locker economy. A senior banker puts it plainly. This is no longer just about lockers. It's about how India chooses to secure its wealth in a changing economy. You see, India remains deeply attached to physical assets, particularly gold jewelry. For many households, lockers are still the default choice for jewelry and important documents, says the same senior banker. Lockers are deeply tied to cultural notions of safety, inheritance, and economic protection. Banks have long used lockers as a hook, a reason for customers to open accounts, a customer retention tool, if you like. And if you mapped the demographic profile of locker users today, senior citizens and pensioners would dominate, followed by middle-aged households. Non-resident Indians, NRIs, who often prefer to retain family jewelry in India, also form a major customer segment. But the system is far from perfect. First, lockers are in short supply. According to a reply in the Lok Sabha by the Ministry of Finance, 1.10 crore bank lockers were operational in public sector banks as of March 2025, along with 11 lakh in cooperative banks. Meanwhile, according to a report by safe deposit startup Aurum Vault, demand is projected to rise to 6 crore by 2030. That's the gap. A senior executive with a private sector lender confirms demand has structurally increased with rising wealth and gold prices, but capacity expansion has not kept pace. Second, reports of operational lapses and thefts add to customer anxiety. And rising gold prices have dramatically increased the value concentration inside those lockers. These are isolated incidents, not systemic failures, says another banker. But perception risk is much higher than operational risk. Third, public sector banks, which dominate India's locker infrastructure, have largely avoided public discussions around utilization levels, operational risks, security incidents, or locker expansion plans. The central bank, ICICI Bank, SBI, and PNB did not participate in this story. In 2021, the RBI revised locker regulations, making banks liable for losses arising from burglary, theft, robbery, fire, building collapse, or employee fraud. However, compensation is capped at 100 times the annual locker rent. A senior banking executive explains, banks are only accountable for infrastructure failure or internal fraud. After all, banks are custodians of access, not contents. That last line matters. Banks know who accesses lockers, but they do not maintain inventories of what's inside them. This creates a major challenge for insurers. Since locker contents are neither declared nor independently valued, insurance underwriting becomes extremely difficult. As a result, insurers like ICICI Lombard have avoided launching dedicated insurance products covering locker contents. The result is a strange situation. Assets worth crores may sit inside highly regulated banking infrastructure without meaningful insurance visibility or protection. Legal experts say this may eventually force policymakers to revisit compensation frameworks, operational audits, and disclosure norms. Apart from security concerns, inheritance disputes are a major stress point in the locker ecosystem. Despite RBI guidelines aimed at simplifying transmission procedures after the death of an account holder, legal heirs frequently encounter delays, procedural ambiguity, and repeated documentation requirements. Rajat Datta, founder of Inheritance Needs Services, is direct about it. He says banks that repeatedly emphasize customer relationships and superior service during the lifetime of an account holder often behave in the most distressing manner when legal heirs approach them for settlement of death claims. Grieving families, he says, are put through multiple administrative layers, branch officers, zonal and regional officers, without clear accountability. Many eventually approach banking ombudsmen or consumer courts. The issue is particularly sensitive because lockers frequently contain not only financial valuables, but also wills, title deeds, and family records critical to succession. While public sector banks remain the backbone of India's locker infrastructure, private banks are increasingly treating them as strategic retail products, not just passive utilities. At HDFC Bank, the locker franchise has witnessed double-digit growth over the last 3 years. An HDFC spokesperson says the business, quote-unquote, continues to be a strong and steadily growing franchise driven by retail penetration and branch expansion. The spokesperson adds, lockers are not standalone products. They deepen customer relationships across liabilities, wealth, lending, and investment products. Also, HDFC has deployed biometric authentication systems across several branches and increasingly factors locker demand into branch planning, particularly in affluent urban clusters and NRI-heavy markets. Axis Bank, meanwhile, says digitization is improving operational transparency. A spokesperson says digital locker systems strengthen protection across access logs, surveillance integration, and traceability. This improves transparency in dispute resolution. But banks are clear. Digital systems do not provide visibility into locker contents. Liability structures remain largely unchanged. As demand for lockers zooms, private vault operators like Aurum Vault, Srinath Safe Vault, South Delhi Vaults are expanding across urban India. These facilities have grown from 5 to 20 in just 3 years. They operate outside dedicated banking regulations but market themselves as high-security alternatives. Biometric authentication, multi-layer access controls, CCTV surveillance, armed security. Amit Maheshwari, Chief Operating Officer of Sankalp Safe Deposit Vault, explains the shift. He says, customers are increasingly exploring non-bank locker solutions due to limited availability, restricted banking hours, and demand for convenience and privacy. But private operators are careful not to pitch themselves as replacements for banks. Maheshwari says, we see this as a complementary ecosystem. Banks provide trust and legacy, private players provide flexibility and access. He also flags the economics. Real estate costs and high capital expenditure for secure vault infrastructure are the biggest constraints. And it comes at a price. While PSU banks charge 1,200 rupees to 8,000 rupees annually, private banks in metro markets charge up to 25,000. And private vault operators like MySafe India 36,000 to 78,000 a year. India's changing locker system is also benefiting home security companies. Thanks to gated communities, biometric access systems, smart locks, CCTV surveillance, and professionally managed residential staffing, domestic security has substantially improved over the last decade. Godrej Enterprises Group says consumers are increasingly adopting hybrid storage models, combining home safes with bank-type secure lockers. The company is investing 100 crore rupees over 3 years in digital locks, CCTV systems, and connected safes. Pushkar Gokhale, business head of security solutions at Godrej Enterprises Group, sees a new pattern emerging. He says, a hybrid model is emerging where frequently accessed valuables are stored at home and long-term assets remain in bank lockers. Security is moving from a functional product to an integrated lifestyle system. New age vault operators like Gurgaon-based MySafe India are going further, introducing AI-enabled surveillance systems and automated locker access technologies designed to reduce human intervention. Ajay Sharma, business and project head at MySafe India, says, lockers are no longer just storage spaces. They are part of a broader asset protection ecosystem. But Sharma is candid about the limits of technology. Operational transparency and brand credibility are critical because customers are storing highly sensitive assets. So, across banks, insurers, private vault operators, and security firms, India's locker ecosystem is booming, although it's also broken. Banks continue to dominate. Private operators are competing on convenience and accessibility, and home safe manufacturers are tapping into lifestyle-driven demand. As India grows wealthier, the real question is, who will it ultimately trust to protect its household wealth? That's it for today. You were listening to the episode on ET Deep Dive. It was reported by Lijee Philip, narrated for audio by me, Anirban Chowdhury, sound designed by Indranil Bhattacharjee. Keep listening to The Morning Brief and our other shows, including Corner Office Conversation, wherever you get your podcasts. Stay tuned.